Welcome to Faith Stories with Dawn DeMarco Buck. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they will see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Well, hello, I'm Dawn DeMarco Buck with Faith Stories. What is Faith Stories? Faith Stories are Christians from all walks of life who share their stories of faith, hope, and love. And my prayer is that you would come to know your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Well, how do you do that? Through His Word, which is the Bible. So if you need a Bible, please reach out to me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com, and I will get a Bible out into your hands. Okay, you guys, I do this every week. I talk about my girlfriend, Stacy Herring. She wrote a book called Fields of Gomorrah, and it's about a 16-year-old who got into a fight with her mom, ran away, and ended up getting abducted into the sex trafficking trade. Don't be afraid to get this book. You need to share it with all your grandkids, your daughters, sons. They do men, boys and girls. So check it out. It's really, really good. It's a faith-based book, and it's a page turner. That's all I can say. All right. Well, listen, we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back with my beautiful guest, Natalie Carlisle.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and two-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at Broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton. We open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavillaproperties.com. Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. And welcome back. Okay, you guys. So Natalie, I have known a very long time. We met probably, I know it's over 10 years, if not 12. She used to work at Food for the Poor down here in South Florida, and that's how we met. And now she's working for K-Love, the Christian radio station. They're based out of Nashville, Tennessee. But she wrote something, and I want to read it to you. I don't want to mess it up. It's a short sentence, but it was so beautiful, and it really touched my heart. And what she wrote is, God has always been with her, showing her His love, mercy, and grace in all things. That just gave me the chills. So I want to bring on Natalie Carlisle, and girl, how you doing?
Hi there. I'm good. It's so good
I
to
wish you
see
were here so I could hug on you, because I haven't seen you in so long. You know?
I know.
Do
It's
you
like
remember?
we're almost in person.
Yeah, I know. And that was a challenge, right?
Yes.
So how long have we known each other? Do you remember? Because I'm like, I can't remember. It was 2012 or was it before
I
then?
do think it's been since 2014. I was
Okay.
thinking about it because it's when I first moved to South Florida
Okay.
that a friend invited me to one of your brunches.
Yes,
And
the
I, you know,
fundraisers that I always had.
yes, for Rosie. And so I came that first time thinking, oh, it'll be fun. And I was just so enamored by you. Everything about you is so Christ-filled, and you have so much enthusiasm. And I wanted some of that. And I loved your jewelry. So
Well, there you go. It was a win-win-win. And you know what's so funny? It's like, I love the Lord so much, and I wear my faith on my sleeve. And I never want to turn people off. I just love the Lord, and I want to plant the seed, and He does the rest anyway. So let's talk about you. Tell me, what did you want to share? I know before the show we were talking, and Natalie was saying how, it's usually I'm listening, I'm not talking. So now you have the opportunity to share a God story, a faith story that, it's going to, even if it touches one person, that's what God can do. He can water that and see and just make that faith grow like a mustard seed, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to be able to share a little bit. And I prayed about this and said, God, I mean, I'm humbled to have the opportunity to be here. I'm not sure what you want me to say, but I'm going to be open to your leading. And that's what I'm doing now. And I just think of my whole life and everyone's life as their faith story. And it's like, if you live a life of prayer, then, everything is better. And when I think about faith stories, I think of me when my earliest memories are in the church and being a little girl who, at 6, when my teacher said, draw a picture of what you want to be when you grow up, I drew an astronaut, and this was a long time ago. And and the teacher asked me why I wanted to be an astronaut, and it was so that I could be closer to Jesus,
Oh,
because I thought I would be closer to heaven.
wow. That's really interesting because, when I interview people, I always ask them what their foundation is. And your foundation was obviously very strong in in Christ, whereas mine
Yeah.
not. It was,
Well, mine started out that way. It
yeah.
took a break for a minute, but then it came back.
Well, I think at times you have to, sometimes that's necessary so that you can understand that the world out there is very dark and that Jesus loves you so much and that he wants to shine his light through you, and you exude that, Natalie. When we first met, you're just such a warm, beautiful individual. And so I wanted you to share something that you walked through that necessarily wasn't an easy journey, because I think that really speaks to people, because life is not easy, and we always go through peaks and valleys. And usually we're in the valley and then we're heading up to the peak, and then, oh, hello, now we go back into that valley again, because that's where we come to know the Lord and we get closer with him because of those struggles and those challenges that we walk through. So could you share something to that effect with us?
Sure. Yeah, I think I'll share a little bit, since I got such a great start with a firm foundation in Christ. You would think that set me off on a path for great things all the way through. But when I was 10 years old, my parents divorced, and
Ugh.
I didn't expect that at all. And everything changed very quickly. And within about 3 years, both of my parents remarried.
Wow, that's
I was
quick.
diagnosed with, yeah, it was very quick. I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is a curvature of the
Oh my
spine.
gosh,
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, and
Wow.
it was so severe. It was creating pain in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a surgery that was a major surgery. And from that, things just continued to be not what I expected
Mm-hmm.
for the next probably 6 or 7 years. And so I dipped into a darkness that I would have never expected for myself. I
Right.
never thought I was without Jesus, but he was more my 911 than my 411. It was like, if
Right?
I needed something really bad and I couldn't get it any other way, I would pray. But I never felt he turned his back on me. I felt more ashamed that I wasn't doing better, because my foundation was so strong that what I went to when I wasn't meeting the standard that I thought
Right.
he expected, it made me sad. Now my spiritual maturity has come along, and I don't
Yeah.
think that anymore. But at that time, that's the way I felt. And
Yeah.
so I went,
Because you were how
go
old?
ahead.
You were 10, but then
Yeah,
when you had the surgery,
I
how
was
old were you?
12. I
12.
was 12.
So that's a major impact in your life. And unfortunately, what happens is you just don't know where to go. And meanwhile, your parents are divorced, they remarried different people, and you're dealing with that, and you're 12 years old, and that's a lot to take on as a child, you know?
It
S-
is. And I was a very, as you know me, I'm a people pleaser. And
yeah.
I also, I have deep thoughts about things that I feel like aren't going well. And
Mm-hmm.
it was not going well.
No.
Yeah. But that darkness, like you said, hills and valleys. And when I graduated college, I had met the man who would become my husband,
Aw.
and we moved to Tupelo, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved there, I didn't know anyone. I was trying to get a job,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I wanted to help people. But I thought my path would be, I thought pharmaceutical sales or something like that, where I would get an
Okay.
opportunity to help people and make a lot of money
Right.
because
Yeah. There's
that's
a
what
lot
I
of
thought
money
I
in
wanted.
pharmaceutical sales, boy.
Um, but that's one of those times when God protected me. As I said before, His mercy and grace. I went for a job interview, and the guy doing the interviews asked me what I felt like my primary job would be as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I said providing solutions to physicians who were helping people with issues. Um,
Okay.
and he said, "No, your number one job will be to sell drugs."
Well, thank God he was
And
honest, because that's really the
I know
bottom line for them. You know what I'm saying? It's not healing. It's
it
about,
is.
hello.
But it did define what I really wanted to do was not sell drugs, and I really needed something to put me in that place. And so, meanwhile, my mother-in-law sent my resume to a ministry in
Oh, really?
Tupelo, and they called me for an interview. I didn't even know who they were, and I went for that interview, and it was with United Methodist Senior Services, and so we worked with the elderly. I
Okay.
was hired for a position, and so that was my first step back in the right direction.
Okay.
And I would just say from there on, the path has just gotten more clear. I was there at Methodist Senior Services, and again, if you've ever bowled, if you participated in bowling, even if you're bad at it,
Right.
when you go, there's the bowling alley, and there are gutters on both sides. And if you're really bad at it, they put these little bumpers
Yes.
up
Cushion
so
things,
that you can't
bumpers.
go in the gutter. And
Right.
I think God was putting up bumpers left and right for
There you
me.
go. To protect you, right?
And so at Senior Services, I got more involved with the church, and then my husband and I helped to start a church. We did a church
Oh, you
plant,
planned it.
and that
So
church,
obviously, may I interrupt you for a second?
yes,
Um,
yes,
so your husband, when you met him, was he a Christian as well?
he was, but he was like me, just kind of dialing it in. If someone
Right.
asked, absolutely, but we weren't doing the things God would have us do to live a holy and Christian life. And so when that came along, it was because of my work at Senior Services that we were invited to be a part of that.
Okay.
And we really we went completely into that. We were sold out for what was happening there. And that
Wow.
was the point at which things took a turn. And we were like children again in church, because even though we were by that time, in our late 20s, we were on fire for what was happening like we'd never done it before. And so it was a great time, and that prepared me for things to come with my career.
For what was the last part? I didn't catch that. That prepared you
My
for what?
career.
Oh, for your
It
career.
prepared me
Okay.
for what was to come in my career, because I didn't know I would be working in a nonprofit, and I certainly didn't know my whole career would evolve around fundraising in nonprofit
Yeah.
space. So
Yeah. We always think we know what we're going to do, and then God interjects and says, "No, this is what I want
yes,
you to do." It's like, "Here,
I
I'm
mean
going to open
really,
this door for you, and I want you to walk through it." And then you're like going, "Wait a minute." But then he was planting seeds along the way for you
yes,
in order for you to do your next journey of fundraising. So
yeah,
what happened next after you planted that church? What happened next after, you were working with seniors, and now what
yeah.
happens?
So, as part of my work, we introduced an international model in healthcare. And it was something that the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation was very interested in. So, I was invited to help other ministries across the United States introduce this model and help with the fundraising. And I did that. And each step, and I think this is the way God is, He takes someone who really isn't prepared and prepares them.
Hello. I'm doing a podcast. Who would have thought that?
Well, Because at that point, I was a solid fundraiser, but I
Yeah.
had not done multiple capital campaigns.
Hmm.
And suddenly I was the expert for this model because I was the only one who had done it. So
Right.
now I'm going to Christian ministries across the United States as the expert.
Hmm.
And it worked. I mean, it's what God did. It had nothing to do with me other
Right.
than me being open to his leading.
Well, and also
And
the talents and giftings he gave you. And you're just
yeah,
tapping into those and allowing him to work through you in order to do what he wants you to do.
yeah, it was, be faithful, Natalie, be a willing servant. And that's, the mission at Senior Services was serving older adults in the spirit of Christian love.
Hmm.
And that to me, and I could do that. And I
Right.
could learn as I went, and I did. And so from that, things happened. And always I was serving with Christians,
Hmm.
Christian ministries, and having just such a blessed time doing it. And so through that, I ended up consulting with some Christian ministries and landed at Food for the Poor.
Yes,
And
that's
that
how
was
we
my
met.
next, yes, that was my next big step. And thank God. It was such a blessing to end up there
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
13 years. I was at Senior Services 13 years and then 13 years
Wow.
there. So, God in
Interesting.
13, there must be something about that for me.
That's the number of my favorite football player, Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins, one of the
Yeah,
best pure passers in the NFL ever, and you can't argue me any different.
right. Well, I agree
So
with you.
13's
So
a
we
good
won't have an
number.
argument about that. Yes. But,
So you came
but
down and you really took on Food for the Poor, and tell us that experience as well and what you did there.
well, and so at Food for the Poor, it's international relief and development in 17 countries, primarily in the Caribbean and Central America.
Hmm.
And the mission there was focused around Matthew 25:40. When you've done it unto the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you've done it unto me.
Yeah.
And it it was a phenomenal opportunity for me to see the poorest of the poor in hard to reach places and be able to provide life-saving, truly life-saving support to people of all walks of life. And we were serving over 100,000 people a year with food alone, not counting the
Wow.
other things we did. So for me, again, it was that next step. It was another huge move in my life that, God said, "You're ready for this. Come on, do it." And again, I was filled with this doubt of,
Of
can I
course.
do that? I mean, some days I think I can do it, but some days I don't know.
And that's the
And
enemy. When we have that doubt and fear, he likes, if you open the door for him, he will get into your head and he will discourage you. And then it's like you're on a free fall and you have to like really stay focused on the Lord because he knows what he's doing. The enemy knows what he's doing too, but it's not for your
that's
good. Whereas
right.
the Lord is for
That,
your good, right? So because I remember you would come back from Haiti, because I volunteered several years to help
yes.
raise money with my jewelry company, and I remember you coming back from these trips, and you were so blown away by the stories of these children and these people who are so incredibly poor, and how you guys just stepped in and helped and provided for them. So could you share a short story of one of those that had an impact on you?
Sure. So in Haiti, one of the things, we were in a lot of different countries, but in Haiti in particular, there was such a resiliency. And one of the things that stands out to me, and I think this just speaks to who they are as a people,
Hmm.
after the earthquake that happened in 2010,
Right.
um, pretty quickly they put together these little tent cities, and they didn't have a thing. I mean, everything was destroyed and they really didn't have anything to begin with. But what you saw is the coming together of people singing hymns day and night, taking care of each other's children. So many people had been killed, and kids were just left with no one to watch over them. And they were doing that. And then they set up in these tent cities, like one row of tents in that area, they would be making some food, like some rice and beans. And then another row, they would be braiding each other's hair. And,
Oh,
that was like your self-care
right.
line where you would go. And
Which
then,
is incredible.
there was another row where there were mothers who had lost their babies in the earthquake, and they were nursing other people's babies, other people who
Wow.
had died in the earthquake.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Um,
I mean, oh
yeah, it
my
still gives
gosh.
me chill bumps. I'm just the love and care, and nothing could do that but Jesus. I mean, I'm
Right.
just, if you don't believe, then you should see something like that, because there's no other response but this is Jesus.
Yeah.
To take something that was the worst possible situation
Mm-hmm.
and start knitting together the good
Right.
to bring things back to at least bearable. And
Right.
in some countries, the poverty is bad.
Yeah.
But in Haiti, what I always felt is it's miserable. It's just miserable. And
Yeah.
it's no reflection on the people, because
No, of
regardless
course
of their
not.
situation,
Yeah.
they are people of faith,
Mm.
and they carry on. And so
Yeah.
that's just
They
to
keep
me,
going. The
yeah,
just the perseverance that they have, and I mean, it's just amazing. And you're right. It's all, their faith in Jesus, and how can it's like, where do you go if you don't have faith and something like that, and you live in those circumstances? It's like you have nothing, so
yeah,
except you do have Jesus, and that's the most amazing relationship that you can have.
yeah, yeah.
So
The
now,
other
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
honey.
No, I was just going to say the other thing is, when you see the children. I remember after the earthquake,
Hmm.
going with a group of team members from Food for the Poor, and there were kids playing. There were huge piles of garbage
Mm.
from after the earthquake, and there would be little kids climbing up to the top of the hill of garbage and playing King of the Mountain and
Oh,
falling
jeez.
down, and you know how dangerous it is, but also
Yeah.
you
Disease
see
and
the face of Christ in those
hmm.
kids, because
Yeah.
as bad as it was, as long as somebody's loving on them,
Right.
they don't know.
Oh,
They don't know. Yeah.
so precious, so precious.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's do this. Like, let's take a quick break, and then I want you to talk about what you're doing now with K-Love and how that all came to be, because that's really a cool story too. So let's go to commercial, and we'll be right back.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and two-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton. We open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavilla.properties.com. Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. And welcome back. I was just looking at the new intro, and I love it, love it, love it. You guys did an amazing job. I love the logo. I wanted to do a branding. So this is actually 1 year, you guys, that I've been doing the Faith Stories, and I'm just so blown away by the stories that all these guests have come on and shared. So Natalie, my beautiful friend. So I want you to talk about how did you get to K-Love?
Well, it's pretty crazy,
God,
but it's
we
kind of
know.
like everything else. Yes. But, I had moved to Nashville. My husband retired, and we were thinking we wanted to be closer to our daughter who lives here with her husband.
Okay.
So we made a big move. I was still working at Food for the Poor and very
Right.
happy there. I had, been here a little over a year, and we moved into a new house, and I got a message from someone who was, I guess, a headhunter or whatever for K-Love, and they were looking for someone to serve as the chief development officer. And I did not respond, and I ignored it four
It's like,
times
nope.
because and again, it was the enemy saying, "You're not prepared for that. You're not
Right.
good enough for that. You don't have a strong enough relationship with Christ. You don't need to
Right.
do that."
Right.
But after she was so persistent, I felt God was so persistent.
Hello,
And
right?
what's it going to hurt to talk to them, at least to get her to stop calling me? And
Exactly.
um, And so I did take the call, and I said, "Well, if I were going to interview for this, I don't even have a resume, so I would have to make one."
Not
And she
prepared,
said,
but that's
"Okay,
okay.
yeah." She didn't balk at that, so I was like, "Okay, well, how long would this search take?" Because I had a lot of things going on at
Hmm.
Food for the Poor, and I didn't know how it would turn out. She said, "Oh, it's probably going to be a 4 to 6 month thing."
Oh,
And I said,
really?
yeah, I said, okay, that's fine because I could kick it down the street a little bit.
Right.
So I got the resume together, I sent it, and I interviewed with the CEO. Then I interviewed with some board members. And I mean, less than 3 weeks later,
Hmm.
I had a job offer, and I was so, at that point, excited, and I wanted it badly.
Isn't
And
that funny?
so
You didn't even know you wanted it that badly.
And it was such a leap of faith. And the biggest thing for me was not, do I want to do this or do I not? It was, how am I going to tell our CEO, who I had a ton of respect for, and I loved
Hmm.
the ministry, but I
Yeah.
had been there 13 years, and I do think it was time for someone else to take that and run with it. And
Hmm.
that's what happened. But so then I came to K-Love. I listened to K-Love already and
Me
had
too. That's my
done some,
radio station
you
that
know,
I listen to all the time. Hmm.
yeah, and now we've got a stronger signal in Miami. Things are good down there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's true. So it goes in and out, but yeah, no, it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So anyway, I stepped into the role, and I have been here, almost a year and a half now, and it has been the best decision I could have made for myself, for my
Mm,
family, and also just for my faith walk. We
right.
have God prepared me for all of it, because I mean, to go from a little girl that wants to get closer to heaven to
Right.
coming to a place that I mean, what we do is bring people closer to Jesus using the
Hmm.
power of media. So it's
Hello.
radio, podcast, films, books, and
Awesome.
it's amazing. And the testimonials, you hear them on the radio because we
Hmm.
play some of those. But one of my teams deals with their donor services. So they're on the phone every day with people who are calling and sharing their
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
We got an email the other day, and this was a sad thing, but it does point to how people feel about this ministry.
Yeah.
Someone sent an email and said, "I need to cancel my subscription," which just meant he was a monthly giver.
Right. Right.
Um, and said, I'm in my final days. I've got some pretty
Oh,
tough stuff, cancer, and I don't want my daughter to have to deal with this. But he went on to say what Caleb had meant in his life, how it had
oh,
carried him through some of his darkest times, and now it was giving him the strength to pass through, because he's confident of where he's going.
oh,
And
wow.
you know,
Wow.
we get to read those stories and be a part of those stories every day.
Yeah.
And it's Jesus. I mean, it is everything that happens here. could not happen if
Without
not for
him.
him.
Amen.
So clear.
Oh,
We're
amen.
we are the largest Christian network in the world, and
That's
it
so cool.
started as one little station that could hardly pay their electricity bill. So
And look what God did. And Natalie, we have run out of time. I'm so sad because I wanted to talk more. But if you don't mind, hang in there. I'm going to wrap the show up, but I wanted to introduce you to the owners of the studio that work here. And so just hang in there with me. But thank you so much for coming on. You guys, next week, please join me. My guest is AJ Donaldson. And listen, have a blessed week. Check out all social media. Please subscribe, share. Just get everybody to listen to these great, amazing stories because I tell you, you will be touched by Jesus. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next week at 3 o'clock. Thank you for watching Faith Stories, where you will hear stories of hope, faith, and love. Please join us next week. And remember, God meets you where you are, but doesn't leave you where you are.